morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to your program, your edition of the Business Perspective, or the business segment of the Bomba Breakfast Show. My name is Abiola Ismail, your regular host. We've been talking about economy, talking about business, and we know a lot of policies are already coming in to ensure that our economy, bounced back. Just last week, the set-up engineers they talked about innovation, they talked about creativity from the young youth. And I have in the studio today, though an engineer by profession from the background before he moved to marketing, he's now a marketing expert. I have Mr. Olaotan Fawehinmi, Associate Director with Medicraft Associate. Good morning, Mr. Fawehinmi.
Good morning, everyone. How's it going?
Thank God. Thank God. We want to look at innovation among the Nigerian youth.
Right.
And let's look at the economy generally. Now we are having a stronger naira in the last couple of weeks and all that.
Thankfully.
What are we going to leverage on now to ensure that this naira retain the way it's going
Yeah.
in the face of the other currencies? What can we leverage on?
Okay, I think, thank you, first of all. And I think that it's very important as a nation to understand that a nation is strong, the economy of a nation is strong when it is manufacturing, when it's not depending on importation. That's very, very key. Nigeria is a country that depends solely or massively on oil. And as long as oil continues to fluctuate, the oil price doesn't fluctuate, it will affect us, right? So it is very, very important that as a nation, we're over 200 million people. As a nation, we cannot all 200 million people plus depend on one sector and feel like that's where the economy is going to survive. We need to critically look into other sectors. Agriculture is there, technology is there. We cannot overemphasize what entertainment is doing across the world. So if the government understands that we need to look into all these other sectors and how we can improve on what we produce in these sectors, that's when the economy will grow and be stable, right? Thankfully, Naira is gaining more ground. We're grateful for that, but we need to do more to ensure that it keeps, Naira continues to appreciate and the economy begins to grow even better.
But when you look at the population,
Yeah.
the youth, the old,
Yeah.
and the elderly,
Yeah.
that's from 0 to 18,
Yeah.
18 to 35,
35
up.
up,
Now,
yeah.
we have the youth. The concentration of Nigeria,
Yeah.
the youth is highest now.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
what can our youth do this time around? Most of the time when they leave the tertiary institution, after 4 years, 5 years, they believe that, okay, I've acquired knowledge
Yeah.
and I'm going to my discipline.
Yeah.
But there's something that is missing to
True.
connect.
Absolutely. So I'll take you back a little bit to the pre-colonial era. Our grandfathers, how did they survive? What were they doing? It was basically more about skills,
Okay.
apprenticeship. Some of them were farmers. They learned something. They worked with their hands, right? So it's either you're a blacksmith or you're a farmer or you make clothes or there were skills. Now, education came and we had to go to school, learn, biro and paper, and then when we're done, we begin to look for white-collar jobs, right? That are not even available. Jobs that were created by some people. So you have this vast number of youth that you have talked about. Correct, Nigeria has more young people than the children and the elderly. And so that number, a large percentage of them would go to school, come out, and want to get the white-collar jobs that are not even available in the first place. So you see there's a disconnect between where we're coming from to where we are. So we've dropped that skills thing, that learning of skills, that the ability to look at what you really can do, what you're skillful at, with your hands. We've dropped that. So we are now everybody's looking so prim and proper, suit, tie, and we want to sit on that board of directors table with, do you understand? That's the issue. Now, what we need to do as young people, and I'm taking a cue from my own story, is to look at yourself. You have such great skills inside of you that you need to look at yourself and bring out and polish and begin to use it. It's fine if you go to school, that's fine. I'm not against education. And in fact, the education system teaches us, I think it was one of the great minds that said that education teaches us what to think and not how to think. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So you don't just go to school, a lecturer gives you handout, you cram it, you pour it down, you have a 2-1 or you have a first class, and then you're out looking for jobs. I mean, it is a stereotype. And so you see people like that just come out, and then we're just reinventing the wheel, joining what somebody else has created. So we have less number of youth creating things. Do you understand what I'm saying? You see, today in entertainment, you see people would go to the university, study a course. I have one very salient example. He studied law, and he came out, he started making skits with the law thing that he studied. That's creativity, that's innovation. For all you care, he has a couple of people that work with him. He has created opportunities for them, jobs for them. And that way, he's making the economy better. That's where every youth should stand. Okay. When you have studied that course, and when you think that, you still want to go out and begin to apply, there is a space for discovering what you're good at doing and begin to pay attention to it, spend more time on it, do it, and then begin to make something out of it. You're growing yourself, you're growing your family, you're growing the economy with that, whether you like it or not.
Now, one of the things that we've come to realize in the last couple of years is everybody is looking for money, how to get money, but not how to build that money.
Okay.
Knowledge
Yes.
is lacking in this area. Now, we're not talking about innovation.
Right.
What can you bring out of nothing?
Yeah.
At least.
When you asked that, what came to mind was the movie 3 Idiots, where Rancho said, chase excellence, and I think follow excellence, and money will chase you pants down. Nigerian youths are looking for money. You don't look for money. You look to create value. Because when you create value, money chases you pants down. People won't pay you because you are fine. People won't pay you because you can speak good English. They pay you because you create value. I've asked myself before. I train young people, teenagers, youth on self-development and all of that. So when I go, I ask them, how do you make money in a day? So do you know that the artisans, those who like your carpenter, your plumber, and so, those guys, if the very reasonable ones, if they don't squander the money, they don't go home hungry every day. You know why? Because when you have an issue, call them. I told them, I said, what makes you have money? When somebody has a challenge, wakes up in the morning and opens the tap and the tap doesn't work, the first name that comes to his mind that day is the name of a plumber.
Yeah.
That plumber will eat that day. Why? He will come and solve a problem. Then you will pay him for it. You exchange your money for the value that he gives you. So he fixes your tap, your water runs. In exchange for that, you give him money. My question to Nigerian youth, what are you fixing? So you wake up in the morning, guess what? If you finish school, you finish NYSC, and you are sitting, in Africa, we feel like it's an African mentality. You feel like all you have to do, go to school, have good grade, get good grade, and come out, get a good job, raise a family. Then when you are old, your children, they start taking care of you. That's a wrong mentality, and that's what we do in Africa. No, we're not supposed to just live that stereotype. You're supposed to be creators. Something that you would even leave for your children to continue when they are going. That's how we should live. That's how they live in developed countries. They don't just wake up and say, oh, when I'm old, my children will come and take care of me. No, they create something, and that's where we should be. So we shouldn't, as young people, think, okay, once I get a job, I'm going to get salary, I'm going to raise a family, and I'm going to raise my kids. They're going to go to school, they'll come out, they'll start taking care of me. No. The question is, what am I going to create? What impact am I going to make around me? And it starts from what you are good at doing. Somebody can go to school. We have thousands and thousands of examples of people that went to school. Vet medicine became a musician. Lawyer, lawyer became a musician. Fouls. Yeah. Look at those guys. Look at Layi Wasabi. Went law. He's a skit maker now. It just, I can go on and on. And these are people who understand that it's okay to go to school. It polishes you. It makes you meet people. You understand how to relate. You understand what to think and should be how to think. But then when you come out, you have to use that knowledge that you have gained to create something. You're not supposed to join the wagon. You're not supposed to reinvent the wheel. You're supposed to be, every Nigerian is supposed to be creators. We have challenges in power. We have challenges in infrastructure, technology. For all you care today, data is still very expensive. There are challenges everywhere. What makes people wealthy is solve problems. They create solutions for challenges. So if Nigerian youths wake up in the morning and look around you, look at the challenge that is there, then ask yourself, how do I solve this problem? Do you want to start manual? If you start manual and it's successful, do you want to migrate to technology? How do I then use technology to make this better? I cannot but emphasize that at this point, maybe we of course need the intervention of the government to make infrastructure more accessible to us as Nigerians. Yes, enabling environment. You wake up in the morning, there's no power, and then it doesn't come until the next day. How are you supposed to be productive? You can't even use your devices. So if there was power, some of us will sit on that laptop and work and get things done. If we had stable internet and affordable internet, some of us will use it for the good of the country. If we look at people who create things, you see all pictures on social media. Somebody created one airplane that does not need fuel, one machine that uses water. What are we doing with people like that? We just put it on social media and then it dies off. And people like that they just lose the dream because nobody is supporting them. It's encouraging them. So we need to critically look at these things. Who says, ChatGPT came, Grammarly came, all of these things came from outside Nigeria and then we're using them. We can create them here if we have the right environment.
Now, you're talking about right environment, and part of the right environment is to have right policy.
Yes.
Now, one of the issues concerning education is obsolete curriculum. Now, the same curriculum that my father, myself, my children, we are using the same thing. We are just changing the X plus Y, whatever, and all that. Now, what do you think government can do in this area? Changing the curriculum or rebuilding or reformulation, maybe you can say that. Curriculum to meet
up with global standards. First off, we're far behind. The world has moved. Everything's changed. Everything's gone digital, fast-paced, AI, and all of that. It's changed the world. Our education system is so theoretical. We still depend on the big textbooks. The lecturer comes to say, if you must have a B in this course, you have to sweat. Really? It's not like the course was created in heaven. And then we have these big books that you have to read. Put the text in your head. Dump it, pour it, and then you have a good grade. I don't think that measures your level of IQ just by putting it up there. I would think that after you have put it up, use it to create. Use it to, it's called knowledge. You want to see what others have done before, and then you now use it to suggest what needs to be done now
to improve.
Yes, you need to improve on what others have done. Look at phones. The first set of phones that came, see how bulky and look at what we have now. Slim, the screens are bigger, the functions are, Why? Because the white man would create something today. When he's done, while we are using it, he takes it back and begins to ask himself, how can I make this thing better? That's the mentality we need to have in this part of the world. You don't create something today and feel you've made it and then dump it and you are raising your shoulders all over the place. You have to think of, you've written a book today, 2 years later go back to it and ask, how can I make this book better? So if I'm going to speak about curriculum, it needs to change completely. We need to change it completely. We need to go out and see what people are doing outside the world. I saw a skit, and I've said this a couple of times in recent times, where a video of very small children, 3, 4, 5 years, I think in China. China. They were coupling things, putting things together, trying to build some cars and all of that. They showed their counterpart in Africa. They were praying in church, praying. You saw it. I mean, videos like that make me cry. Because that's not where they should be. It's good to pray. I'm not against prayers. But after you're done praying, get to work. Teach them to couple things, to put things together, to be creators. Don't teach them to be dependent. Because, back in the days, when we were growing up, if your father is coming and meets you playing football outside, you're fried. Today, if they are really, you better ask them if they play ball. When you know what Rix James and Osimhen and all those other guys are earning. I said the world has moved. So but now you're asking them, have you played football? You are even putting them in football academy. It wasn't like that. It's the same thing with our curriculum. Back in the days it worked because we wanted to understand the white men when they came here, the books they were reading and all of that. Right now, it's not working anymore. We need to now drop the theory and begin to practicalize the things. Guess what? The reality in the market is completely different from when we learn in school. It's when you go out you realize that it's a different conversation. So across board, government, even private companies, they need to be more interested in the universities. Imagine at 300 level, you have like the entire term or semester, that's what you use. The entire semester, you have sessions of different people from the industry coming to take you on some courses. They won't teach you book now. Yeah, they will teach you practical. What they are seeing in the field. They will tell you a campaign that they did, how it ran, how it was successful. So it prepares your mind for the real world. Yeah. But they make us feel like once you have a 2-1, you are fine. No. Because you see that same X they were asking us to find in some other, we have not found the X. We have not found it now. We are still looking for it. But guess what? Because they knew that at some point there were going to be electricity challenges. We will have bad roads. Those were the X. So that's why he said education to teach you how to think, not what to think. So if you know that in future there will be a challenge, an X that you have to find, Nigerian youth, we have to sit down and look for these simultaneous equations around us, these quadratic equations around us, and begin to find the X and Y.
What we are discussing this morning is Nigerian economy, leveraging on innovation and creativity. And my guest has been Mr. Fawehinmi Olaotan. He's a marketing expert. And we are going to the youth. Nigerian youth, they are brilliant, they are smart,
super smart.
But we need that contribution to reflect on the GDP.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let's look at infrastructure.
Right.
One of the problems Nigeria is facing today road, internet and all that. Yeah. What can we do? What can government do in this area? And one thing, government cannot do it alone. That has been the song.
Yeah, we say government cannot do it alone. However true that is, it cuts across, which said so much about the youth and how we need to begin to innovate and create. Again, honestly, the government needs to help us. The youth can create solutions in terms of come up with ideas, but then implementation. One, they don't have the funds. Two, they don't have the infrastructure, in terms of what it takes, it needs support. Support can come in two ways. It either comes from the private sector or it comes from the government. The one that is most effective is if it comes from the government. But the government has to invest. First, you have to be seen before you can be attended to. The truth of the matter is that our government is that they are not even seeing us, to be honest. So young people are creating, they are coming up with stuff when nobody is seeing them, really. So I see pictures and videos of people creating stuff different places in the country, but nobody is saying anything. Nobody is picking up those guys and saying, let's invest in this and create it and make sure that it goes wrong. We would rather put money to import what somebody has done, and then we begin to sell that, and then we're saying that Naira is weak. Naira will definitely be weak because we're not investing into homegrown products. When I was growing up, I hear of big names like Godwa Textile and things like that. Where are they today? There was somewhere in Ondo State, there was a Neuromi, between wood and all of that. Where are those companies today? They folded up, they're gone. Even right now, we have companies who came up from outside Nigeria who established here. A long list. Dunlop has gone. We can go on and on. GSK, we can go on and on. How are we supposed to survive as a nation when even drugs, medicine? I mean, it's a bit challenging, really. What the government needs to do is to pay attention to young people who are beginning to develop solutions to our problems. There needs to be some sort of special grants where people like this can access, and having people who are already made in their different fields mentor them and help them grow whatever it is they have developed. If you have the right funding, if you have the right mentorship, you will excel. If whatever product you have is worth it, is what can solve a problem. I don't understand how I have power problem and somebody tells me that I have this solution for you and I ignore the person. That means I don't want the solution. That means I have something else I'm interested in. And so every time it's oil, let me say it can't always be oil, because even the oil is not oily in its points. That's not what I mean. So the policies have to help the young. If you look at policies right now, it doesn't help the young. It doesn't help the young. It doesn't. So, and as a young person, if you're trying to create, we give it to those guys, especially in entertainment, those guys who have made it despite the odds. But it may not be like that for things like technology, other hardcore things, right? I mean, right now we're talking of Scrum Masters and all of that. How many Nigerians are Scrum Masters? Do you understand? That's what we're saying. So if we begin to, pay attention as a nation, if the government begins to pay attention on the creativity of Nigerians are creative, to be honest. If you want to know they are creative, go on Twitter and watch how they talk about things. They can think on the spot. In developed countries, if you catch a hacker, they don't kill them. You repurpose them.
Exactly. How do you get into?
So that's it. So you catch somebody who is good, who has been hacking banks and hacking all of that. You don't kill him. You say, okay, if you can do this negatively, you can do it positively. So they repurpose them and say, okay, come and use the same brain to make the economy better. That's it. You look for Nigerian people who are genuinely creative and have something to offer. We need to pay attention to them and help them to develop whatever it is they have. Let's start with the sample size. 10 people, 20 people, 50 people. If it works, and then we begin to spread it. That's it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olaotan.
Thank you.
Fawehinmi, we really appreciate you. I want to believe that today Nigerian youth must have picked one or two things which we've been discussing. Let's be creative. Let's try and innovate new things. Let's contribute to the Nigerian economy for you and I. Until tomorrow, when I will be joining you again for another edition of Pump Up Breakfast Show, the business segment. I still remain yours, Abiola Ismail. Stay tuned.